The role of the salesperson has fundamentally shifted in 2020. The shift from being a features expert with strong persuasion skills to becoming a consultant and a strategist has been really rapid this year. And to discuss the changing role of the salesperson in our Future of Sales series, I have with me Debajit Roy, Director, Oracle Cloud Business. Prior to this, Debajit was with QAD as Country Sales Manager. And he has also had stints with Wolters Kluwer and Sage in sales leadership roles. So Debajit, welcome to the Future of Sales series.
Thanks very much, Thomas, and thanks for having me here.
Right. So Debajit, very often when we talk about upskilling, it is more about technical roles. However, the new reality of sales is that, given the fact that we are focusing on improving personal and technical effectiveness of salespersons to make them better consultants and strategists, clearly there is a huge upskilling opportunity and necessity over here. So, practically on the ground, how has the salesperson's role changed? And also, what is the upskilling that salespersons require these days to meet the new challenges?
Well, Thomas, times have changed, right? Though everything is perceived as a commodity now. But if you see, consumers appreciate someone solving their problem and not selling them a commodity, even if it's a service. So now, if a salesperson has to become a successful executive in this environment, he can't just be a salesperson. First, he needs to be a consultant, as you very rightly pointed out. Second, he needs to be a domain expert, okay, and reasonably good product expert as well, or the understanding of the product or the solution should be, there, right? So upskilling is not a choice anymore. Soft skills, is one of the key areas where salespeople need to really upgrade themselves, right? So they can become a consultant. So that's one area where I feel there is a huge scope, and that's something which is absolutely required. And then understanding of the solution, okay? So a salesperson needs to do a lot of self study, other than getting information and data on the market intelligence. So this is something which needs to be done daily, on a daily basis. So that's another area, right? So one of the key areas today is that how do I prepare myself to get into an engagement for an opportunity, right? Now, I personally believe, and there is enormous data available, in many researches, where a salesperson needs to spend around 70 to 80% of his or her time to actually get into the engagement. So, so all of these can be done only if the upskilling is proper and on time.
Yeah, no, I think those are great points you raise, and specifically about the point that I think soft skills is becoming even more important, in the new scheme of things. So, sort of moving forward, Debajit, so data is really the new fuel, and that's the mantra that now people talk of. So, how can salespersons and sales teams leverage research and data to power the sales process?
Okay, so that's exactly the point I started making in the previous piece as well. Research on many counts is a must today if you have to succeed in getting a deal, right? So in enterprise technology sales, I can share with you the market is cluttered and choices are enormous for customers, right? Also, the decision making process or the buying process has evolved. Unlike earlier days where individual executives used to take decisions, today in every organizations, average of 5 to 6 people are involved in decision making. So stakeholder management is a huge task. information around their roles, responsibilities, their authorities, their likes, in fact, this personal likes, dislikes, their decision-making track record, then obviously, as a salesperson, you need to also be able to read the reports, annual reports of an organization, right? I mean, understanding their numbers.
Yeah.
Now, for example, if you have to pitch in with a business application, right? So you need to really identify their problem area, and where will you, I mean, the customers generally, wouldn't be very open in sharing their data. So you need to actually be able to read their annual report, right? I mean, once you are able to read their annual report, you will be able to find out, where are they losing money? For example, as I said, business applications, maybe it's an ERP or
Yeah.
something of that sort. Now there is this inventory days, where people are losing money, right? Now if you can identify that by reading the data, you will be able to actually position your solution more effectively when you actually present it, right?
Right.
So similarly, whether it is a CRM or HR management application, so sales effectiveness comes into the picture, right? So all that data, you need to really be able to understand. So first and foremost is you need to read the
Right.
data, understand the data,
Yeah.
and position it correctly.
Correct.
So that's something which is very, very, very important. And as I said, it's unless you position the data correctly and depict the problem. So more than anything else, some of the senior executives may not be even aware of the challenges they face in their businesses. So now, once you present it to them, you should be, be doubly sure that you're presenting the right data first. Second is, they will come to know, they will challenge it. So the data has to be close to accurate.
Sure.
Now, this is making a real impact, and that is where you will be able to drive the story about how they can drive ROI from the solution you're pitching in. So they will look up to you that, okay, fine, now this is the challenge, you're giving me the solution.
That's right.
So yes, data definitely is the fuel, and that is what will drive an opportunity.
Yeah, thanks so much. So moving on, Debajit, the other very contentious issue is about sales and marketing. Typically they've been, working in silos, even though on paper you get the impression that they work as a team, very often. So the role of marketing is also changing in these high value sales. So what's the convergence that we're now seeing between sales and marketing?
See, marketing in earlier days used to be only brand promotion, right?
Right.
I mean, so people used to do brand promotion, and through them the lead used to get generated. And mostly if you look at them, it'll be ATL activities, right?
Right.
Businesses did not have any real ROI on marketing spends. That has evolved, and marketing roles have become revenue oriented. So BTLs play a crucial role, which in turn needs sales collaborations.
Right.
Now, marketing campaigns are now run with target audiences decided by the sales teams, right? Which is more often than not part of the larger GTM strategy, right? Now, as an example, PD functions today is part of the marketing teams, right? Now, most of the incoming leads which are coming in are going through a process of MQLs, marketing qualified leads, and then it comes to the sales team, sales qualified leads, and so on and so forth. So sales teams' involvement in actually doing campaigns for lead gen and business development has increased a lot, right? Now, what happens with that is, organizations have started, getting more data and information about, what is the return on investment on those campaigns, and that's how the metric of a marketeer,
correct,
is kind of getting done. Yeah, so it's the collaboration is definitely much more, and it is converging. And I guess, and I also believe that there's enormous scope to do more in that area.
Yeah, great. So moving forward to another area today, clearly customers have several options. But these options and choices have also, they also tend to confuse, potential customers. So therefore, the salespersons now, and you did refer to this earlier as well, need to become information experts. They need to be able to articulate, the reasons for, a solution, and there are multiple stakeholders that they actually, need to, deal with. So you did mention in, a few days ago when we spoke that one of the major things that salespeople, need to evolve is also to become a good coach to the customer. So, how do you think this actually is happening on the ground, and what does it take for us to train salespeople to become good coaches? Because it's a big shift from the way things were being done earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is something which is very, very important, right? As the sales function itself is evolving, you would see now organizations, most of the technology organizations, they have started bringing in teams called insights team, right?
Right.
Now that is exactly the reason why it is done, right? Now the sales people needs to, I mean, there is this process which I believe
Right.
is a fantastic process. Now, if you really need to win a customer,
Correct.
and you want to create a differentiator in your page, you need to really coach the customer, as you very rightly mentioned, right?
Yeah.
So I personally follow a process that coach, tailor, and take control,
Right.
So how do you coach? You need to
Yeah.
have enough information about the business. You need to have
Right.
enough data about the industry.
Right.
Now, a lot of times you will see that the
Yeah.
customers are so busy in their day-to-day operations, they may lose sight of what's happening in the industry, the trends in the
Right.
industry, right?
Right. Right.
So that's where your teams and you yourself as a sales professional would gather that information and present it to the customer. So that's where the
Right.
coaching comes in, right? So
Yeah.
once you start giving the information,
Yeah.
and obviously, as I mentioned earlier, that you study, 80% of your time should go
Right.
into the research before you get into an organization and
Right.
engagement. So you have that data, and then you have that industry data, right? So
Right.
you present it to the customer and identify, the challenges they are going through.
Correct. That's
Now,
right.
if you map it with the trends of the industry, there would be few things which the customer would be facing as challenges,
Yeah.
right? And once you give the industry trend, I mean, that's where the coaching
Correct.
begins.
Correct. Correct.
Okay, once you do that, then the customer looks up to you. Yeah, this guy is making sense. You are able to relate. You are able to articulate the same
Yes.
stuff which he wants to hear, or
That's right.
the management wants to hear in that organization. So now, then you actually are asked for a solution that
That's right.
how can we solve these challenges, and that's where tailoring comes in. That's where actually you do the solutioning.
Sure.
Once you give the solutioning, automatically the
Yeah.
customer looks up to you as a consultant.
That's right. That's right.
That's
Yeah.
when I say
Yeah.
that you take control of the opportunity.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
Correct.
this whole thing, this whole
Yeah.
process, is a coaching process. And
Right.
in the I would say that end result is already understood.
Correct.
Half the sale is done
Yeah.
because the customer is looking at you as a consultant.
That's right. That's right.
So that's what I would say.
Yeah. So I think so. Finally, again, a contentious issue is that now this poses a big challenge for sales leaders, because now they are dealing with a very transformed, sales team with new skills, new focus, highly empowered. So I'm sort of beginning to wonder whether the sales leader's role itself is becoming redundant, and will this now be replaced by perhaps business leaders?
Absolutely. Really, it's a great question, first thing. And, I completely agree with the statement which you made. Now, honestly, if you look at the ground, there are no sales leaders anymore, though they
Right.
may be called sales leaders, right? I'll just give you an example. In the current scenario, right, in this pandemic, there's a lot of digital transformation which is happening, right?
Right.
Now, the digital transformation is something which is it's a lot of advanced technologies, X, Y, Z, and all of that. So essentially, some of the enterprise organizations, they are moving from this on-prem model to the cloud model, right?
Correct.
So which is essentially nothing but capex to opex.
Yeah.
Now, in this whole thing, what is the role of a sales professional as such, and then the sales leader, right? So a sales professional needs to, give them a compelling pitch, right? And
Right.
what is the pitch? The pitch is nothing but, that you will reduce costs.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you are actually taking the headache out of the organization
Right.
and putting it somewhere else, right?
Right.
And paying for it. So now, once you do that pitch,
Yeah.
most of the organizations and the enterprises are going for it. But the challenge comes is, once you make the sale,
Yeah.
you are unable to, if you are not thinking from a business perspective, you are unable to convert the sale into a consuming model, which means,
Right.
you may have sold it, but you are not able to implement, get the services done,
Right.
migrate the,
Right.
the customer to cloud. Now, if that is not done,
Yeah.
the whole process is not completed. The actual benefits where you started off from,
Yeah.
the customer is not getting benefited, right?
Yeah.
Now, in this whole thing, what is happening? Now, you as a sales leader or a sales professional,
Right.
you cannot depend on anybody else because you are leading the whole engagement.
Sure.
So you need to understand, as in the whole discussion we have discussed that
Yeah.
The role of the salespeople has changed. So this is how
Right.
it has also changed, right?
Right.
So the whole process from beginning of pitch to actually migrating the customer to get benefited is a whole business cycle. So every sales organization today,
Right.
is a small business in itself. So
Right.
from end to end, if you look at it, so business leaders need to lead this business, this
Yeah.
small sales organization's
Right.
business, right?
Yeah.
So
No, I
that's how
think,
the role
yeah.
has changed.
No, absolutely. So thanks so much, Debajit, for that great conversation. And clearly, we're going to see a lot more changes. I think, I think hiring great salespeople is also going to be a big challenge for HR and business leaders. Likewise, with the transformation of sales leadership into business leadership, there is another whole gamut of transformation happening. So going forward, it's not just going to be a digital transformation of organizations, but a huge transformation of the sales people as well, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. So
Thanks very much, Thomas.
yeah. So thanks, Debajit, and to all our friends who are viewing this, keep watching our series on the future of sales. Thank you and goodbye.